I've had a lot of questions about how to analyze diction because either a student missed the class that we went over this or someone just hasn't been able to go to tutorials. So I thought I would go ahead and do a quick tutorial video that will hopefully help you out if you are having trouble with this or if you still had any outstanding questions. The first thing I'm going to take a look at is the very first page, or the first two pages actually. This is actually going to be very helpful to you because it's going to actually help to clarify things like the context or the denotation and show you those guiding questions. So what is the literal meaning of the word, the dictionary definition for denotation, for example, or the connotation where we're looking at what's implied or the additional meanings of the word. Anything that's suggested. You might remember that we've been talking about sometimes some religious connotation of words, and sometimes it's used in a context that's trying to elevate someone to a higher level. So they're using, he or she is using a lot of religious connotation. So before you come see me about what is the context or how do I find the connotation of a word, please, please, please always come back to your notes because I'm not going to give an answer if you have not come back to the notes. I want your questions to be based on your understanding of what you already have. You might also notice that there is this frame, the sentence frame here. This sentence frame can be also considered like a thesis frame. So when we are creating a thesis statement for your essay, you are going to be basing it on this sentence, the sentence frame as well. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual text. I'm going to focus on exercise A because that's the one that we all did together, and I'm hoping that this will help those who are still struggling with going through the Emily Dickinson poem. So the first thing I want to bring to your attention is the author. So General Douglas MacArthur, and he's giving a farewell speech to the Corps of Cadets at West Point. Something that you need to know about West Point is that this is an Army university, and this is the graduating class. This is the graduating class of May in 1962, and this is significant because in 1962 the United States was engaged in the Vietnam War. So this was a group of students who were graduating and off to lead soldiers in the military during wartime. So General Douglas MacArthur is talking to them, and he's trying to show them what he thinks of the soldier and what his idea is of the soldier. So as we're reading, we're going to look at the diction and determine what is his attitude towards American soldiers. So the first thing that we're going to really look at is how does he describe. So when we're looking at diction, we're looking at description. So that would be our adjectives, our adverbs, and in some cases our verbs. It's very rarely going to be our nouns, mostly because the noun is a name and there's not many different ways that you can call something unless we're looking at more casual ways of saying things. So one of the things that we do first is we're going to read the text. And what sort of soldier are those you are to lead? They're reliable. Are they reliable? Are they brave? Are they capable of victory? Their story is known to all of you. The story of the American man-at-arms. My estimate was formed on the battlefield many, many years ago. and has never changed. I regarded him then as I regard him now, as one of the world's most noblest figures, not only one of the finest military, but also one of the world's most stainless. I highlight and circle stainless because stainless is really an interesting way to describe someone. So it's unusual, not just in this context, but in most contexts. So we're going to go ahead and go on, and as we're doing this, I'm going to go ahead and write my positive and negatives here in the box below. His name and fame are birthright of every American citizen. In his youth and strength, his love and loyalty, he gave all that mortality can give. Gave all that mortality can give. So mortality. He needs no eulogy from me or from any other man. He has written his own history and written it in blood on his enemy's breast. But when I think of his patience under adversity, of his courage under fire, and of his modesty in victory, I'm filled with an emotion of admiration I cannot put into words. He belongs in history as furnishing one of the greatest examples of successful patriotism. He belongs to posterity as the present to us by his virtues and by his achievements. In 20 campaigns on 100 battlefields and 1,000 campfires, I've witnessed that enduring fortitude, that patriotic self-abnegation, that invincible determination, which have carved his statue in the hearts of his people. From one end of the world to the other, he has drained deep the chalice of courage. And so I'm going to go ahead and write down the words that I haven't yet. So we've got mortality, we've got modesty, we've got furnishing, self-abnegation. I'm just going to write abnegation because we would look at this word more so than the self affix, and chalice. And really, furnishing and chalice are kind of neutral. So for the sake of stainless being on its own, I'm putting it under positive. So now we're going to move on and we're going to choose 4 words. Now I'm only going to choose one word to help us out. So we're going to go through this with, excuse me, with the word mortality. Okay, mortality. And when we're looking at the text, the word mortality, he gave all that mortality can give. So in the context, mortality is life. So the soldier died on the battlefield. Is kind of the implication there. So the denotation of mortality is to be subject to death, or capable death. So the denotation is also it's the opposite of immortal. So all of these are different ways that we can define it. All of these are different ways that we can better understand what the denotation is of the word mortality. So the connotation. When we think of mortality, we think of things like immortality. And immortality we associate with different things. With immortality, we associate superheroes. We associate deities. We associate death. But really, when it comes down to it, the deity is where we really come down to the connotation of mortality. There would be no immortality without deities to begin with in human history. So really the ultimate, or if we were going to put it into a category, the denotation or the connotation, of the word mortality is a religious connotation. You would think of it more in connection with deities, or escaping death than you would, or extending your life than you would any other, especially at this time in history. So the emotions at mortality, it sparks fear, because one of the most feared thing by humans is death. Sparks fear, apprehension, and I would even say that anxiety. So for him to have said that he gave all that mortality can give, to say that he died, that's really saying a lot. It's really saying that he gave this thing, his mortality, that is something that we fear, something that causes us anxiety to think about giving ourselves. So he's saying that this is something that the soldier gave without even thinking. So the intended effect is to make the listener realize that this was action without thought. The ultimate sacrifice. And with that, you really need to know about, in terms of General Douglas MacArthur, in the military, something that I had mentioned in class and something that we had talked about is, in the military, there's a definite hierarchy where officers are up and soldiers are down. So if you have this hierarchy where soldiers are beneath the officers, then obviously there's going to be that idea that officers are better than. So what he is trying to do, and his intended effect, using the word mortality here, is to elevate the soldier in the eyes and mind of these graduates. So there's really a solemnity to this section, especially considering we're not just talking about his attitude toward the soldier and his attitude that is that they're brave and they're reliable and they're victorious, but he's also trying to say that that we really need to respect them, and that we really need to understand that they're doing a lot more than they are really the backbone. They are really the reason that we are successful. All right, so that is it for the walkthrough for diction. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to let me know and come by tutorials and we can talk about it. Thanks so much.